I'll let you go. Who stood out for you, Guru?
Mate, I was going to mention your mate, Terrell May, but I might wait for you to talk about him. I thought Sandon Smith, when he came on the field.
Mate.
They do not win last week against the Sharks if he's not playing. He came up with a couple of very big plays in that game last week. And then, mate, when he came on the field in this game, he just turned it on its head. Scooted from dummy half, put the big left foot on. I think it was Nelson, left him for dead, found Radley, and then, a really good sign of good ball players. He just knew that when they're on the front foot, he had to go again. Got up and, mate, that pass that he threw to Lindsay Collins, that was incredible.
Well, Robbo said something really good in the press conference. He was like, a few weeks ago, he was almost waiting, like Sandon Smith was almost waiting and just kind of floating across field to wait for Keary and Butcher to do, like basically he was there just to give the ball to them and what they wanted. He said it's only been the last few weeks where he's seen Sandon Smith be brave enough to just do it himself. And he was so stoked for Sandon Smith that, like, that's a huge gutsy play to just go bang over the top. Like, that's a risky pass to Lindsay Collins.
14 minutes to go in a game, you come on as a hooker, playing out of position, having played halfback for what I know his entire career. The vision he had for that pass was set a 20-year-old. Was incredible. As you said, Kempy, he's thrown that over about 4 blokes. Any one of them could have snapped that up, run the field, and this bloke's like, just confidence is shattered for a long time to come, but he went for it, nailed it off the back of his lineup. So he backed up that play. That was that was an incredible finals play that will probably be forgotten about because they got beaten in this game. But that pass was sensational.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about a bit about it earlier. Terrell May, absolutely outstanding. 56 minutes, 18 runs, 131 metres, 6 tackle breaks, 4 offloads, 45 tackles with 0 misses. In a game as gritty and grindy as that's nothing short of incredible.
He's going to absolutely explode next year, isn't he?
I cannot wait for him to get, like, he is going to, because, like, you can see his physique and how big he is and strong he is. As he just gets more used to the pace of the game and everything, he's just going to be able to pick his moments even better every time.
He's such a good, like, to have a front row forward with footwork like that, I think it's so underrated. And I think it's been something that the Roosters have really struggled with since they lost Takiaho.
Yeah.
They've really struggled to fill that void, and geez, early signs over the last few weeks. This guy looks like he could be one of the better forwards in rugby league if he keeps this up and just like the footwork, the offload. He's just got everything they need. You pair him up with a Lindsay Collins, a very different footballer. Very nice match there,
mate. Lindsay Collins is fast becoming a big game front rower.
Yes,
it is unbelievable the moments he has. Yeah. Like even that cutout pass from Sandon Smith. To have the grit, the guts, but also the standards as a frontie to go, oh yeah, I'm going to be pushing up on a play like I'm a freaking 6 or a 7. Like, he had no right to be pushing up like that. No right. We're talking about a front rower here pushing up as if he's a fullback.
Well, it's funny you say that. If you go watch that play again and you watch him out wide getting himself ready, he's next to James Tedesco. He identifies it before Teddy does. Watch their body language. You literally see him identify what's going on before Teddy does. And Teddy's only half a second behind him, but he identifies the space and where he needs to be. Incredible.
Out. That's amazing. Lindsay Collins has been nothing short of phenomenal at the end of the year. Like, some of the plays he's come up with, and then you add in, it's all the little things he does as well, the line speed, the tough carries, like that's a given. But then you add on to it these huge impactful plays. I mean, wasn't he chasing against the Sharks? Didn't he do so he came on the field, they made a break, and he chased it and tackled the guy that made the break.
And it was completely forgotten about because then Teddy was at first marker and he got sin-bid. And that just took all the attention away from it.
But it was Lindsay Collins coming off the bench, steaming down the edge there for a try-saving tackle.
And even like the amount of times you see him, do that same thing. He might not make the tackle, but he forces the player infield or he forces them into contact somewhere else. He's got a lot of these moments in his game now where you watch the replay and you go, fuck, what's he doing there? Why is he there?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Man, I'll never forget a few years ago when I was like, I think that Lindsay Collins will play Origin this year. There's quite a few people that were like, he's this, he's that, like just talking nonsense. And now you look at him and you go, mate, like he's almost the first pick for Queensland in the forward pack.
I'll never forget, there was a game that when you were going through your really dark period, 2020, was it? And the Roosters absolutely gave it to you, and he scored a try in a game. And I remember a lot of people were praising him like crazy. And a lot of people said after that, it might have been a similar time, he'll play Origin. I just remember sitting there going, fuck, he scored a try. Calm down.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't seen it yet. And two, like, mate, even at the start before this Origin series, I sat down, I was sort of going through my Queensland Maroons stuff.
Welsh or Collins, yeah.
And I was going, well, maybe Collins will make it. I'm not sure. Now, he'd be my first pick, and he'd be my first pick for the Blues if I could too.
Mate, he's almost, not almost, but he's absolutely pushed himself into, he's an Origin player.
Yeah.
You know, he's an Origin front rower. He's a guy that's going to, because like the middle of the year, you know, Billy Slater has, you know, not famously, but he said, I know a lot of people are, I guess, negative about the way the Roosters are playing, but if you watch specifically Lindsay Collins, he's been doing this all year long. You haven't seen it, hasn't been working as a team. I mean, Billy's, you know, eye for talent is bloody.
Isn't rugby league amazing that, like, you know, I can sit there and watch a game with my mates and hear the comments they say and just go, fuck, it's like people just see the game so differently. Then you get a mind like Billy Slater.
Yeah.
Who just sees the game within the game within the game. And there's just so many levels to it. It's unbelievable.
Yep. Who stood out for you?
I loved, and over the last 2 weeks, Sammy Walker's field goals in big moments. This is a very young bloke in the early stage of his career who got dropped earlier this season. And again, it'll probably be a little bit forgotten due to the fact the Roosters got done in this game in the end, but snapped field goals with 9 minutes to go and 7 minutes to go in the last 2 weeks. One of them got him across the line. The other one fell agonisingly short of doing it, but nailed them both when people around him and more experienced halves failed to do the same thing. Pretty special from Sammy Walker to do this 2 weeks on the Trotter. And I was looking at the mechanics of the Sammy hitting them, and Sammy's got a ways to go in his general kicking game. He's a bit of a funny kicking style, but his field goals, he snaps them so quickly. Yeah. And when the defence rushes up on him, he hits them so quickly. I spent Friday night after a couple little cheeky beers watching, as most Blues fans do, just watching old Joey Johns highlights from Origin. And I went back and saw a few of the field goals he hit. And there was a game in 03, I think it was game one, he snapped one with about 6 or 7 minutes to go. And I'm just watching this master at work. And Joey, for that field goal, went to the line. He had to run inside and run outside him. So he had options that, firstly, are going to hold up the defence and put them in about 2 minds. But if they do really rush on him, you know, he can hit someone inside or out who are going to have a spot to run there and a gap in behind the defensive line. But Joey snapped them so quickly. Didn't have a chance to charge the little bastard down. And I've watched other players in the NRL this season and even more recently over the final series that hit them, and it's a really slow process of catching, dropping, hitting the ball and that. But going back to it, Sammy Walker, he hits them so quickly.
And to add to your point, if you go back and watch that, he actually changed the way he hit it. He almost dinked it up and over to decrease the chances of a charge down.
He did the same last week. It went really high, like not the flat one where it's going 2 meters over the bar, flat and fast, going over.
Mate, and like that's a decision by Sammy Walker to go, I'm going to decrease the chances of them getting, they basically need to be over the ball to charge it down. Whereas when you hit it flat and hard, you can almost be 2 or 3 meters away.
Heaps more chance.
And you've got a chance of getting it down. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was one thing I want to emphasise, that the way he kicked that ball on the weekend was on purpose. Oh. There was no accident. I heard, I had a lot of people on social media comment on my stuff, sort of saying, it was lucky it floated over. Oh, come on. No. That's why in commentary, Joey, Freddie, none of them commented that. They knew that he was doing it all on purpose.
Yeah, so good.